Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and we've got an upper intermediate level lesson for you guys today. This one is all about a crime scene.
That's right. So we are going to be at a crime scene. We are with the police officers, and we're going to take a look at some very, very interesting and specific vocab to like police and a crime and all that.
That's right. So if you're a fan of the TV show CSI, or you like some of these investigation police work TV shows, this is a lesson for you.
That's right. So why don't we go and listen to the dialogue for the first time?
All right, Officer McGraw, give it to me straight. What are we looking at here?
Detective McGee, we're glad to see you. We could sure use your expertise on this one. It's a break-in, but nothing seems to have been stolen. We received a call from the Bear family at around 10:30 this morning. They'd gone out for a walk before breakfast and came home to this mess. Broken chairs and porridge all over the place. Apparently, Mama Bear had made the porridge a little too hot, you see, and they were waiting for it to cool down.
Okay, then, let's start examining the evidence. Have the forensics team been in yet?
Yes, sir. They found some fingerprints on the bowls and are analyzing them back at the lab as we speak. Hopefully they will be able to identify the burglar soon.
Aha! What's this? A strand of golden hair. This is a very important piece of trace evidence, McGraw. It tells me the suspect has long golden hair, and very few men have long golden hair. So our criminal could be a woman.
A woman? Was she working alone? Did she have an accomplice?
An accomplice? No, McGraw. She was definitely working alone. See here, there are footprints in the porridge. Here on the floor, small footprints. This tells me that our suspect is small and could possibly be a child.
A child? Surely not, sir.
We must follow the clues, McGraw. The evidence doesn't lie. Now, let's reconstruct the crime. The suspect came in, sat in each chair, breaking the smallest one into little pieces. Next, the porridge. She obviously tried to eat it, and because it was so hot, she dropped it on the floor, making this mess. Interesting. These footprints seem to lead upstairs. McGraw, did your officers clear the scene?
Well, there was no one down here. And maybe we forgot to check upstairs.
Hey, what's with all the noise? I'm trying to sleep up here.
There she is! Get her!
All right, we're back. So a lot of interesting phrases there. They are obviously investigating a break-in.
Okay, a break-in, yeah. So someone broke into this family's house, so they have to investigate the evidence and some of the things that were left behind.
So now why don't we take a look on language takeaway, some of the specific words they used.
Language takeaway.
All right, the first word that we have is forensics, the forensics team.
Forensics team. So a forensics team is a team at a police department or police station that studies the things that are left behind after a crime.
All right, so that team goes and collects the evidence.
So you could look at hair or fingerprints or footprints, things like that. A forensics team is kind of like a team that puts together puzzle pieces, trying to figure out what the story was.
So, as you said, the TV show CSI, the whole show revolves around, follows a group of forensic scientists who go to crime scenes and look at blood and different pieces of evidence that are left behind.
Very cool. So one piece of evidence that a forensics team might look at is a fingerprint.
That's right, a fingerprint. Or in the dialogue, we found fingerprints, the plural form.
Okay, so for example, if you go to a police station because the police think that you have committed a crime, the police will take your fingerprints. That means they'll put your fingers into ink, and they will make you push your fingers onto a piece of paper to see what your fingers look like.
That's right. So our fingerprints have a unique pattern. Everyone has different fingerprints. There are no two fingerprints alike in the world, right?
Right. So it's kind of like a form of identification.
Very good. That's right. So that is your fingerprint. So moving on, we talked about fingerprints now, the scientists who are investigating the crime scene, and they are talking about a very important piece of trace evidence.
Okay, well, let's look first at the second word there. We've got the word evidence. So evidence is something that is usually physical, like a piece of clothing or hair, that can be used against someone when we're trying to prove that they have committed a crime.
Right. So, for example, a weapon or fingerprints, all that is evidence.
Okay, so Marco, what's the difference between evidence and trace evidence?
Well, as you'd notice, you have the specific word there, trace. And to trace means to follow or
To connect, maybe.
To connect, right? So what you're doing here is you are taking this evidence to follow or connect the person that committed the crime. So, for example, fingerprints lets you know who committed the crime.
Oh, okay. Or maybe if you have blood, you can find out who did this crime.
Right.
But what about like a broken window?
Well, that's just evidence. That just lets you know how the crime was committed, maybe how they got into the house.
But not who did it.
But not who did it, right?
Okay, so trace evidence helps you connect the crime to the person who committed the crime.
Mm-hmm. And, well, moving on, we found that very important piece of trace evidence, which was a piece of, or a strand of golden hair. And the police officer said, well, this tells me that the suspect has long golden hair. So, a suspect.
Okay, this word it looks exactly the same as the word to suspect. But be careful because we say these two words in different ways.
So, to suspect, that's a verb.
That's right. So, I suspect Marco did it. So that means I think or I imagine.
Right. Whereas a suspect, a noun, a suspect,
is a person. So the person who we think or the person who the police think committed a crime.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so for example, we're talking about some trace evidence like long blonde hair. That means the suspect is probably a woman and is probably blonde.
Very good. And it's interesting that you use the verb to suspect and a suspect, all because you're not sure yet. So this person may have committed the crime or may not.
That's right. So we have to wait until the trial. We have to wait until we prove this person is guilty before we can say that they actually committed the crime.
Very good. Okay. And, well, you have a suspect, and usually you also have somebody who is an accomplice to the crime or to the suspect.
Okay, so a suspect, as we said, is a person. It's a noun. So is an accomplice. So accomplice is a suspect's helper.
Right. So basically, if you're robbing a bank and I wait outside in the car, right, while you're robbing the bank, then I am an accomplice.
That's right. And under most laws, you could be sentenced to jail.
Right. So the accomplice usually doesn't commit the crime, right? You robbed the bank, but I just waited outside in the car to drive you out. So I didn't rob the bank.
Right, but sometimes accomplices do also have guns and shoot people or
Right.
knives. So an accomplice is basically just the helper of the criminal, but they can get in trouble too.
Right. So basically, it's a person that helps out and knows about the crime, but didn't tell the police about it. Right?
Exactly.
That's a really important aspect. Okay. So a lot of interesting words there, all related to crimes. Why don't we move on now to a couple of different phrases that we have prepared for you on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Okay, I like this first phrase. It's a phrase you might hear a lot actually in police shows. Give it to me straight.
Give it to me straight. Actually, also you can use it when you're just talking to someone and they're like hesitant, right? Like, I don't know how to tell you this, but
I'm not so sure. I don't think you're going to like what I have to say.
So I can just say, okay, come on, just give it to me straight.
Okay, I don't like your shirt. No, I'm just kidding. It's a nice shirt. But what you're basically asking for is the person to say, be honest with me.
Be direct.
Be direct. Straight can mean both of those things. Honest or straightforward or quick. You don't want someone to go around and say lots of different things.
So I guess, yeah, that does make sense. Give it to me straight maybe comes from straightforward. So to be straightforward is to not hesitate to just say something directly and honestly.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on to our next phrase, McGraw is talking about the bowls, and he said, well, they are analyzing them back at the lab as we speak.
As we speak. Okay, so this is actually a phrase that refers to time. So in this instance, what he's basically saying is right now. They're being analyzed right now or
Okay.
in this moment.
So it's a way of indicating that something is happening at this very moment.
Exactly. So I could say, did you know that the president is giving a speech as we speak?
Okay, so that means the president is talking right now
Exactly.
as we speak. Okay, very good phrase. Now, moving on to our third phrase, Detective McGee was talking about reconstructing the crime. He said, let's reconstruct the crime.
Okay, so I don't know if any of you watch these crime TV shows like Dexter or CSI. This is my favorite part
Right.
because they tell you exactly what they believe happened. So to reconstruct means to build again or to recreate, to create again. So basically they start at the beginning and they pretend to follow what happened during
Right.
the crime.
So that's basically the verb to reconstruct, to rebuild, recreate. Okay, reconstruct the crime. Very good. And what about our last phrase?
Okay, so our last phrase is, again, a very typical police phrase. You hear this a lot when there's been a crime or on TV when they're talking about the scene of the crime. That means the place where the crime happened. And the police say, we need to clear the scene. Or, did the officers clear the scene? So to clear means to empty out.
Right, but they're not talking about emptying out the evidence or removing everything from the house. They're just saying to remove people, right?
Right.
Or obstructions.
Exactly. And why is it that a police officer would want to make all the people go away?
Well, because you don't want people stepping on the evidence or maybe putting their fingerprints all over the place.
Right. So it's very important that the officers, the police officers, clear the scene so that they can start their investigation.
Right. Very good. A lot of interesting phrases there. I think we should go back. Why don't we listen to the dialogue for the last time, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this really interesting topic.
All right, Officer McGraw, give it to me straight. What are we looking at here?
Detective McGee, we're glad to see you. We could sure use your expertise on this one. It's a break-in, but nothing seems to have been stolen. We received a call from the Bear family at around 10:30 this morning. They had gone out for a walk before breakfast and came home to this mess. Broken chairs and porridge all over the place. Apparently Mama Bear had made the porridge a little too hot, you see. They were waiting for it to cool down.
Okay then, let's start examining the evidence. Have the forensics team been in yet?
Yes, sir. They found some fingerprints on the bowls and are analyzing them back at the lab as we speak. Hopefully they will be able to identify the burglar soon.
Aha! What's this? A strand of golden hair. This is a very important piece of trace evidence, McGraw. It tells me the suspect has long golden hair, and very few men have long golden hair. So our criminal could be a woman.
A woman? Was she working alone? Did she have an accomplice?
An accomplice? No, McGraw. She was definitely working alone. See here, there are footprints in the porridge. Here on the floor, small footprints. This tells me that our suspect is small, and could possibly be a child.
A child? Surely not, sir.
We must follow the clues, McGraw. The evidence doesn't lie. Now, let's reconstruct the crime. The suspect came in, sat in each chair, breaking the smallest one into little pieces. Next, the porridge. She obviously tried to eat it, and because it was so hot, she dropped it on the floor, making this mess. Interesting. These footprints seem to lead upstairs. McGraw, did your officers clear the scene?
Well, there was no one down here. And maybe we forgot to check upstairs.
Hey, what's with all the noise? I'm trying to sleep up here.
There she is! Get her!
So you mentioned a couple of different shows such as Dexter and CSI. Do you watch any of these shows?
I do. I'm a big fan of Dexter.
Dexter.
And Dexter, as you know, works at a police station in Miami, and his character is in forensics. He analyzes blood.
Right. He's like a blood expert.
Yes.
But it's interesting because he commits crimes himself. So he uses his knowledge to help him to not get caught.
Right. So he's both a criminal and he's a police officer.
But he's kind of like a superhero criminal, right? Because he doesn't kill for fun or pleasure. He just takes out people who kind of deserve it, right?
Yes, but he does kind of do it for pleasure because he's obsessed. He can't not kill. So instead of killing good people, he decides he will only ever kill bad people.
It's a really good show. I've watched a couple of episodes, and it's very, very good. The same as CSI. There are a couple of different versions. There's CSI Miami, New York, and Las Vegas. But my favorite is Las Vegas. It's very, very good.
And also Law and Order.
I've watched a couple of episodes of Law and Order. It's pretty good.
Yeah, they often talk about forensics because they have both parts. They have the police part and the law part with the lawyers who have to use the evidence in court. Very interesting.
And there's also, forensic scientists, they take a look at the evidence, but I think also they examine the body back at the morgue, right?
That's right. They look at the body to find out what happened to the body. This is all a part of reconstructing the crime.
So this person is also sometimes called a coroner, right?
Okay, the person who analyzes the body.
It's pretty scary though if you think about it, having to analyze a body. I don't know.
I think you have to be very experienced, doctor.
It's a very interesting. I don't even know how somebody becomes a forensic scientist, for example.
Oh,
Do you
can
study
go to
this
school
at
for
school?
it? Yeah, they have lots
there's
of forensic programs.
I think I saw on Discovery Channel they have a reality TV show about students, forensic students, and they're actually taken to real crime scenes, and then they get eliminated one by one.
I'll have to look it up. Well, I'm curious to know, have you ever heard of this before, forensic science or forensic anthropology? There are lots of people who study this and who do this as a job. And if you're not interested in that, maybe you could tell us about what kind of crime, drama, TV shows you like, because we certainly love them here. Our website is englishpod.com.
All right, we'll see everyone there.
Bye.
The English Pod audio review. Listen to the meaning, then say the vocabulary word.
Scientific test used in the investigation of crime. Forensics. Discover and define. Identify. A single length of. Strand. A person who helps another in committing a crime. Accomplice. Form a picture of a crime by piecing together evidence. Reconstruct. Tell me something directly and honestly. Give it to me straight. Think something is false. Suspect.
Let's try that faster.
Form a picture of a crime by piecing together evidence. Reconstruct. Think something is false. Suspect. Tell me something directly and honestly. Give it to me straight. A person who helps another in committing a crime. Accomplice. A single length of. Strand. Scientific test used in the investigation of crime. Forensics. Discover and define. Identify.
Now say the word and hear it in a sentence.
Give it to me straight. Give it to me straight, doctor. How long do I have to live? Give it to me straight. I want a shot of vodka. Give it to me straight. Give it to me straight. Give it to me straight. Is the steak delicious? Forensics. The forensics suggests she died from choking on a chicken bone. Forensics. We don't know how he was able to break into the bank. We must wait for the forensics. Forensics. Crime Scene Investigators is my favorite show. They really know how to study forensics. Reconstruct. The computer can reconstruct how the building used to look. Reconstruct. The doctor will attempt to reconstruct her nose. Reconstruct. After the storm, the family had to reconstruct their house. Suspect. The main suspect in the robbery is your brother. Suspect. She is the main suspect for the cookie thief. Suspect. From the size of the footprint, the suspect is a child. Identify. The police used the computer to identify the young woman. Identify. Use this picture to identify the missing dog. Identify. After watching the video, the cops were able to identify the bandits within a few hours.